So this is a classic Feldenkrais lesson called the 3 cardinal directions of movement in sitting. And because as pianists, we all sit at the instrument and we seldom really think about what that is. Sitting is a dynamic act, first of all. It's not just you sit and there you're like a bump on a log. But that's the way most of us perceive it. You know, oh yeah, I'm sitting like, and then that's the end of it. No, the sitting is the beginning of being able to move well at the piano. So, first of all, come back in your chair the way you all were at the beginning, and you're leaning on the back of the chair, and just sort of feel how alert you are mentally. And then come out here and sit on the edge of the chair. And notice, are you more or less alert? Does something change simply by getting your back off the chair back? It's quite amazing. So many choir directors will have you sit with your back against the chair back to relax everything and allow the voice to be better. So what that does, that decouples all the extensors. The back extensors are designed to straighten you. The flexors are designed to curve you. So now I'm going to go here, and my back extensors aren't doing anything. So instead of helping me relax more, it's taking out one half of the equation, which makes breathing actually more difficult. So come forward. And now, do you feel tense or do you feel at ease? Vertical. It's possible to be in a vertical position and to be held there. So, and most of us are to some degree held. When we play the piano, we want to stabilize, we think it's good to stabilize the body to provide a precise support for all these complex finger movements. Even Arnold Schultz even wrote about it in The Riddle of the Pianist's Finger, a wonderful book from 1936, that in order to support the fingers in their movement on the keys, the hip joints must be fixated. So that's a wonderful book, many, many wise things in it, including this wonderful speech about legato and the joys of it and the beauties of legato. But in that, he was dead wrong, which we're going to find out today. So, we're going to do it by opening up a sensorial experience of how do we sit dynamically rather than statically. And to what extent are we now sitting statically, and to what extent are we truly dynamic? That is, able to move in any direction without preparation. So, feel your 2 sits bones. And can you detect whether your weight is really equally distributed through the 2 sits bones, or whether one sits bone is carrying a little bit more of the weight of the torso or the other? And actually, could you internally, without showing me, oh, I'm on more on this one, could you internally just slightly adjust something so that the body kind of stays in the middle, but somehow my weight is more on one sits bone? Or oh, my weight is more on the other sits bone. But don't rock back and forth. Stay in the middle, but do some subtle adjustment. Some subtle adjustment. And if you figure that out, does your breathing already change? If you figure that out, can you feel, oh, my spine has to somehow let go in order, but it's where in the spine is let go, it's hard to detect, but somewhere there's a certain softening or a certain opening to a certain flexibility which allows me to get onto one sits bone more than the other. Okay. So now, how about forward and back? The sits bone is kind of like an egg. It's not, or you try to feel it. Is it a billiard ball or is it an egg? And does it have a sharp edge at the bottom or is it rounded? And of course, that egg, if we're sitting upright, will be balanced right on the middle. So now, are you really on the middle, or are you a little behind, or are you a little in front? Where are you? And slowly, paying attention more to the right sits bone than the left, rock a little behind, rock a little in front, as if that egg is now drawing a line on the chair. Okay? Let's see how everybody does that. That's right. So there's actually two ways that you're doing very well. It's very small movement, but inside you actually feel, oh my God. I could feel the point of contact change. And there's two ways to do that. So as you're doing it, can you feel that as you rock back, your head is going back in space? And I'm not saying do it that way, just is that happening? And as you rock forward, is your head going forward in space? And so let's try everybody doing it that way. So you rock back on the sits bones, so you come a little behind, and the head is going back in space. And then you rock forward on the sits bone. So the whole body is basically moving as a unit. The pelvis rocks forward, the whole body angles forward. The pelvis walks back, the whole body angles back. For many people, this is the standard way of doing it. So, if you could rock your pelvis back but not have your head move back, what would have to happen in your back? So now try rocking the pelvis back, but leave the head where it is. And how different is that? And rock the pelvis forward, but don't let the head go forward. What ends up happening is the head goes a little up when you rock forward, and the head goes a little down when you rock back. Can you feel the difference between that one and the first one? This is differentiated. And which way helps you feel the line your right sits bone is drawing on the chair more? So which way, if the muscles of the pelvis and the pelvic floor relax more, you'll feel better that line that's being drawn with your sits bone. So does that happen more when you do it undifferentiated, the head forward, pelvis forward, the head back, the pelvis back? Or do you feel more when you leave the head forward as the pelvis rocks back, and leave the head back as the pelvis rocks forward? So in this second one, the back is now flexing and extending. So all sorts of extensor muscles, which are just holding you as you rock undifferentiated, must now change their degree of tonus, change their degree of activity. Therefore, this sitting is already more dynamic. Now expand the rocking back, leaving the head forward. Expand the rocking forward, leaving the head back. That's it. And help yourself feel how the spine bends and how the spine straightens by putting one hand on your sternum and the other hand on your sacrum. It's the middle of the pelvis. And now, as the sacrum moves backward in space, the sternum doesn't go back, the sternum comes down. That's it. And now as the sacrum moves forward in space, the sternum comes up. And try that many times. Yeah. And you can help when we're doing the flexion part, that's the sternum going down and the sacrum going back. You can help by dropping your chin a little. Drop the chin a little more. See? That's it. Yeah, that's it. And so you see where the back is learning how to bend, how to flex. But it's gravity that's helping it do that more than muscular activity. That's a cessation of muscular activity. It allows that back to bend more. Gravity takes the head down. Gravity takes the sternum down. And gravity takes the pelvis rocking back. And then somehow you don't fight against gravity when you're going forward. You just feel how skeletal leverage, that chain between the sacrum and the sternum, somehow, the sacrum pushes through that chain and the sternum starts to come up. Oh. And we're still in the field of gravity. The sternum is coming up in the field of gravity. It doesn't seem to be struggling. It just seems to be gently feeling through that spinal chain, what the sacrum is telling me. The sacrum saying, come on, you can go this way. Switch the hands, and see whether this is a totally different experience or whether you just feel yourself a mirror image left and right.
Still concentrating on the right sits bone?
Yeah. That's very good. And as if the skeleton was doing it by itself, as if there's no muscular activity. Of course there is, but just feel how the more you let go and allow the movement to do itself, the more the folding and the unfolding gets smoother and more delicious and more fluid. That's right. Take a break. Come back. Then we'll sit. Don't lean back unless you want. You can lean back, but take a moment to see whether is your perceived vertical in your sitting, the perceived neutral, where we started, has that shifted? Are you actually sitting differently than you were a few minutes ago? Don't hold yourself there. Feel yourself floating there. Are you floating in a different position? Maybe not much, maybe not at all, maybe something significant. And now, these lessons, we feed the motor cortex unusual movements so that the motor cortex can make decisions. And most of those decisions are done out of our awareness. Let's say I stretch my hand out. Now my motor cortex is going to activate the triceps, activate the biceps, activate the finger extensors, activate the wrist extensors, activate the deltoids, activate the shoulder blade muscles. Did I think, okay, come on triceps, come on biceps, come on extensors, come on shoulder? We don't think any of that. The motor cortex handles all that. It's amazingly complex. Now we're going to do a fun thing to just see how much the motor cortex can help improve our movement without us even thinking about it. Would you please put your right hand, I'm going to do mirror image, put your right hand under your right sits bone so that you're now sitting on your fingers basically. And now, can you feel even more the three-dimensional shape of that sits bone? Oh my God, I never knew. You can feel more exactly just what kind of an egg it is and whether there's any little edges there or not. And now, begin to rock forward and back, doing the more differentiated way. So the head is going up and down rather than forward and back. And feel how this allows your fingers to gain even more awareness of the exact shape. Really feel it. Feel it in every way you possibly can. Its sides, its back, its front, the outside edge, the inside edge. And rock a little bit sideways if you can, just to get a more and more actual experience. Oh, this is my sits bone. Welcome to your sits bone. Hello, sits bone. I've never met you before. I've been here my whole life. And maybe rock back and forth with the undifferentiated one, where the head's going forward and back as well, and see whether that is worse or whether it again shows you another aspect of the sits bone. And then you ask yourself the deeply metaphysical question, is my sits bone giving my fingers a massage, or are my fingers giving my sits bone a massage?
And is Zen Cohen.
That's right. Yeah. And is the image of this, the experience, the impression of the sits bone getting more and more clear? Are you discovering more and more? And if that's so, why is it so? It's because muscles are relaxing all around the sits bone, allowing you to feel it better and better. But you're not saying, relax, relax, so those muscles. That's the motor cortex's decision. It's doing that of its own accord. And the motor cortex is making hundreds of decisions like this every minute of our lives. It's amazing. Now, take the hand away and just feel the difference between left and right sits bone. You know, like, what? What? Where did all those muscles go?
It's like this one's lower.
Yeah, all the muscles dissolved. It's like that bone is right on the chair. There's no padding anymore. Well, there's still padding on the chair, but there's no padding in me. Yeah. The motor cortex did all that because you're trying to feel your sits bone with your fingers. Motor cortex says, I can help with that. Relax this, relax that, let go of that, lower the tonus here. Now try it on the other side. So now it's the left sits bone, because I don't want to leave you too, yeah. That was like, it's amazing. Oh, now is this sits bone a mirror image of the other one, or is it actually different? Are your sits bones asymmetrical? When I do it, every time I get a different impression. For me, it's as if this sits bone is pointing that way instead of straight forward. Like my sits bone's kind of. Now, is that true, or is that just my subjective impression? I don't know. Doesn't matter. Just go with the impression. Go with the sensation. And again, rock in all the different ways we could think of rocking. I could even move my knee forward and back, just kind of scrunch my sits bone over some fingers instead of just rocking. Anything to see, oh, is this sits bone the same or different? And the fingers will play differently just from having been sat on. It's a hidden added benefit. If they can move at all after that.
You'll play more flats.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if anybody has a problem
Before they
with
were
curling the fingers, yeah. Now there's another part of this lesson. Within this position, you start to curl your fingers, but we're not going to go there. Great. So now take the hand out and see whether they've equaled up the two sides. Great. Take a moment to see how you're sitting again. Has your sitting changed again? Put the hands on the thighs. And now use that rocking motion to slide your hands forward. So remember we slid the hands forward the other day? I forget where we were, but whether that was this institute or not. So rock forward, slide the hands forward. What?
On the floor.
Oh, we were doing it on the floor. That's right. So rock the pelvis back, slide the hands back, and sense how the pelvis is moving your hands. Don't move your hands. Move your pelvis and the hands just get moved by the pelvis. So again, you see, this can be done at the piano. Your body can play the piano because it's actually your body moving your hands here, your body moving your hands there on the keyboard. Now, come back to the middle. Oh, if you're going to do that, David, you could actually go down here. Yeah, because this contact of the palm and the fingers. Yeah. Now, come back to the middle, and this time, here, my pelvis is sliding my hands. Now, my hands are going to slide this way to push my pelvis that way. It's the opposite. My hands are going forward, pelvis is going back. Hands are coming back, sliding back, pulling the pelvis forward. So the passive and active relationship has been reversed. Now the hands are actively pushing on the pelvis or pulling on the pelvis. When I slide my hands back, the pelvis gets passively pulled forward. When I slide my hands forward, my pelvis is passively pushed back. And you see how that allows the back to let go even more. Even. Now try the undifferentiated one again. Now the pelvis is dragging the hands this way and that on the thigh. Notice how the quality of this one has changed. From doing the differentiated one, the undifferentiated one changes in its quality. Come back again, just sit, take a moment's break, and notice again, has your experience of upright sitting again transformed? And you feel more or less peaceful. So that's the first cardinal direction of movement, flexion and extension. Now this one's going to be a little more visually interesting for the camera crew. Now, we're going to do the second cardinal direction of movement, which is side bending. So I'm going to do it reverse, so I'm going to do my left, you do the right. So what would happen if you angled your right ear towards the right shoulder? Do you see that? So when you do that, you angle, don't turn the head, that's rotation, that's the third cardinal direction of movement. So you angle the ear towards the shoulder. Now what happens? Where does the weight go? So many people will do it like this. They angle the right ear to the right shoulder, and the weight goes onto the right sits bone. Yeah. Come back. Do that a few times. Feel the comfort or discomfort of that. And of course, you realize eventually that if I keep doing this, I'm going to fall off the chair. So, could you angle the right ear towards the right shoulder and put the weight on the left sits bone? There you go. That's it. Come back. Just do it a little bit. For some people, it's so weird. And this is the one where we do it a few times good, and then we get confused and start doing the other one again. So this is differentiated. Okay, so now let's increase that by, as the right ear is going to the right shoulder, I'm going to lift my right hip. Okay. Oh my God, I get, you see which, come back, and now which, I've got to go this way for the head to go that way. Yeah. So what it is the body, Sinden, your body and your head are both going that way. So the body's going to go one way for the head to go the other way. That's it. So the more the body goes the other way, the more the head can just drop to the side. Try that. That's it. Come back. Yeah, don't go over here and get stuck. Stay here a little, maybe, but don't get stuck there. Come back. It's a movement, not a position. That's right. You're turning your head. You're looking right. Don't look right, Melody. The nose stays forward the whole time in this one. It's like the nose, that's right. That's it. Gently, gently, gently. The more gently, the slower, and the softer you do it, and the smaller range, the more parts of your spine start to bend that may not have bent in a very long time. Now, put your right hand across your head onto your left ear and do the same movement. And now as you rock to the left, oh, the weight of the arm can gently encourage the back to side bend even more. Come back. Do that a few times. That's it, Tom. Your weight is going to the right. Eric, come back. Put the weight to the left. Put the weight to the left while the head's going. That's it. That's it. Many people get confused like that. They think they're doing it, but actually they're still doing this. So the weight, so the weight goes the other way. The more the weight goes the other way, that's it. The more the side bending gets naturally, fluidly. Now we're going to do one more thing. Would you please scoot over to the left side of your chair so that only your left sits bone is on the chair. Okay? The right sits bone is hanging. No. You do the other side. Yeah.
Right sit bone on the chair?
The right sits bone is on the chair, and the left sits bone is just hanging in space. So actually, you see, it could drop. It could just drop, okay? Right hand on the same place. And now, as the right ear is going down towards the right shoulder, the left sits bone drops into empty space. That's it.